Well, here we're gonna show how the shed looks. So I put all this rock down here. You can see how I worked on some of the foundation. It was pushed out about 3 inches down here in this corner and dug it out on the inside and pushed it back with a tractor, so it looks pretty decent. It's not perfect on the corner there. I put limestone along the foundation and then some hard rock against it too. Well, this is what it looks like inside of here. You can see down here how I worked on that foundation and we dug it out. That's where we're going to pour the cement. It's going to be about 18 inches deep down there. That's about a foot down there, maybe a little bit further than a foot. Got that board in there temporary, like just to keep the water out, and up here so I can build up the limestone just a little bit. We can see what this looks like here at the corner after I got done. I had to push that back to line up with the pole. It turned out pretty good. The wall's not too bad. Maybe see a little bit of bow there, but not bad. Show you what, when I turn the lights on, how it goes. Got our 2 basketball goals up there. Trailer full of stuff. There's this corner over here I really had to work on. Put a lag screw down there in the corner. Keep those sill plates together, and then blue bolts, Tapcon bolts down into the foundation, really to hold the foundations more than anything. And rework this stud down here. It's not quite right, but it's all compromise. Window will go in place of this door here. Now here's going to be looking into the lean-to. The Grand Marquis. And here's the reason I'm redoing this shed too. I had rat problems, so I keep the hood open on the Grand Marquis there, and also my tractor, because I always had a rat come in or do something crazy, and I just got so tired of that. And you can see that the limestone is wet there, and it's still in the process of drying. And you can see we were checking out boxes of screws. I was going to put a 2x6 pressure treated wood around the perimeter. I needed to determine what kind of screws I was going to use there. And we bought this Harbor Freight laser, and I needed that to determine where I was going to put those 2x6s against those studs. And I found out the old foundation was really only off about an inch. That's pretty remarkable considering there's no footings underneath that original foundation. And here I used these 2x4s in the door opening there to determine what size door I was going to put in. And I got plenty of room there for 2 vehicles coming in that one 14-foot door, so that's what I determined to go with. And I was waiting for the concrete guys, and so I decided to go ahead and repair my cylinder on my tractor. That took a day or so. And here I'm starting to lay in the pressure-treated wood around the perimeter. And I used structural screws to hold it to the studs and that seal plate. The rain washed off where we could see that date code in that concrete. So I decided, well, I'm going to put that in front of the building. So my wife helped me, and we dug a hole and buried that thing in front of the building. I didn't really want to get rid of that. Here you can see those 2 dirty foundation ditches, so to speak. I kept packing that limestone right up to that edge of that ditch. And here I'm taking the tin off the old slide doors. I needed to save that tin for the rest of the building that I was refurbishing. And it was a little bit hard to do all by myself, but I was able to do it. The concrete guy decided just to put mesh in there instead of rebar because a concrete truck was going to have to drive through that. And we put felt over the old foundation. But he did put some rebar in that dirty foundation there. And he's putting up the forms here. And the concrete guy put these strips of metal that he would run the screed onto. It's held up by those little green plastic pieces. He did them about 10 foot apart. You can see on the outside of the building some forms had to be made too for that new wall there. Very early on, they went ahead and filled in this dirty foundation so it could set up a little bit before they had put the floor on top of it. They would try to pull up that mesh as they went along. I tried to keep an eye on that. They probably weren't perfect with that. They did put a slick finish on the interior there, but on the outside they did put a broom finish to give it some texture. And here's where they started running a little bit of problem. It was drying too fast before they were able to get a perfectly smooth finish in some of this area, but it really doesn't bother me any. It's just really just a storage unit at this point. And here's what that looks like after they pulled the forms down. You can see how it integrates with the old foundation. Okay. You can see here it's a little blotchy because it's still drying. I did run into some problems here. I was backfilling with some limestone and I was using my old stuff and it's more like a powder. The problem was when that got wet, it was like a sponge in certain areas. I had to dig it out by hand and redo those areas with a better quality limestone that I'd put inside the building.